Slide to us. No, it says up and coming, so that means I need to reload YouTube. So we are indeed live. Hello, and welcome to week 4 of our Nerd Talk live podcast. Sorry we're coming at you a little bit late today. But, you know, we still have nerdy crap to talk about, so let's go. I personally want to talk about a little Borderlands siren lore today, and, you know, of course, my notes from the Imminence and Shadow that Cat's been having me watch. Cat's got some Horizons, I think, to talk about if he's watched more since last week. I don't know.
Oh, shit.
Nope. Never forgot. Never mind.
Nope, I've not
But
seen.
he has Tower World and crap to talk about at least, so, you know,
Oh,
we
most
have things to fill the
yes,
air.
most definitely that.
I figure we're just gonna go around random places in Borderlands right now, and that's where we're just gonna pop ourselves up in photo mode in random spots, and this is where we're gonna talk throughout the podcast today. Freaking.
Yes.
I'm gonna at one point play the Nereid logs as we talk about them. If y'all don't know, Nereid was the first siren that we, as far as we know. She's definitely lived back in ancient times. And I've recently found out a little new lore on her that was outside of this game. So that's something I want to talk about too. Or at least this is from what I've heard from people that got to play Borderlands 4 early. Lucky bastards. You know, we
For
do
real.
have our timer going. I'll put a new post up here in a bit for how many days until Borderlands 4 launches. So, Kat, you want to start us off talking about something here? Got anything to launch us into?
Or
well, I guess first we should probably say our title. I'm Damionpyro, and he's...
I'm ChillenCat.
And this is our Nerd
Call me
Talk Live
Cat.
podcast. And it's getting less awkward each time.
Hell yeah.
Bro, still never ready for the intro.
No, I'm not, but here I am.
Yeah. Also, you know, we'll answer any questions anybody has, or anybody wants to bring up anything, you know, nerdy to talk about. We'll talk on the subject. It's the whole point of doing this live, so we can talk to you guys while we're doing this.
Yes,
and thank you for the 5 people who have already liked. Appreciate you all. That was quick. Freaking awesome. All right, Kat. So, what was your Howl World lore you had built up here?
Oh, great. Where to start? I'll start when you left. And Matt left. So I went to go find Zoe, or not find Zoe. I went to go do her quests. It's the one you gotta find her memento, her Tyler memento. Dude, it took me all night just to find that.
Yeah, that's
dude, it wasn't even hard. That's the problem. Because it was in the ruins.
Mm-hmm.
It was in the fort ruins, and you had to go find it. I was like, where is it? Dude, it was a damn blanket on the floor.
Oh, shit.
Dude, I walked past it like 50 times.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And, yeah, I'm so dumb. Now I'm gonna be making...
Question mark?
a gigantic furnace.
Oh. So was that the lore thing you had?
Nah, it was just the Zoe lore.
Zoe lore?
The lore is me trying to find Zoe's tattered blanket.
Craziness. So speaking of some actual power lore, I don't know if you know this, but there's hidden journals. I don't know for the newer bosses they added, but for the original 5, scattered across the world, usually in the area that their tower is in, right? That actually gives you the backstory on them. For example, for Zoe, I believe her dad or somebody used to be pretty high up in the gang, right? Which is how she got herself in there, right? But she got captured, and then her and Grisbolt managed to free themselves and take over the gang.
Yeah.
But she actually wanted to have, like, different things she wanted to do in her life, but she ended up getting forced into basically being the gang leader there. And there was more to it. Some of it involves the,
Now you can, you know, do her quest and you can recruit her.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, make you go on adventures with you that she's never been on.
And then
Fucking W Zoe.
And then the next area leader, the one who leads the POW Liberation Alliance or whatever, she's like all against like treating POWs humanely and stuff, and against capturing and selling them. But little does she know that her funding has been coming from people that work for her secretly capturing and selling POWs. And then lying to her about where they get the money from. Because otherwise she gets very pissed off when she sees people being, you know, cruel to pals. That's why she has her spear. So she goes out and murders people who are cruel to pals. It's kind of her whole thing.
Damn.
Right? And then I forgot what the guy's name was, but he's the guy that has Polaris, right? He's the next one up. He's the corrupt cop that gets people addicted to drugs just to go bust them for doing the drugs. Alright? He also gets his Polaris addicted to the drugs to make him more aggressive, and he'll keep it from, you know, doing the drugs for days at a time, so it gets angry and stuff like that, and more violent for fights, which is absolutely insane. And then next up you have Axel and Orzurk, right? So there was a guy, I think his name was Alex or something like that used to work for our 5th tower boss, who has a Shadowbeak, the guy that works with the people that experiment on the pals and stuff like that. Well, he in particular can freaking, I believe, ran off with Orzurk. Because there's mentions of like similar things, and you don't really get much info from Axel and Orzurk. They don't really have a big long diary thing like other people. It's kind of like they want their backstory to remain hidden or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then of course we have Shadowbeak and the other guy, and so in his lore, he's always been curious about, since he landed on the island, like how the pals work, and been doing extensive genetic research trying to create his own pals, but his ultimate goal is to be able to transfer pal powers over to humans, which is why when you fight him, he comes down in like a fucking tornado or some shit. Because he'd just been working this whole time to make himself all OP and powerful.
Yeah.
Cat's just zooming. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Those are the only 5 that had lore at the time. I don't know if there's any new lore for everybody else, and that's been a long time since I played.
Yeah, my current goal in Power World is to make Zoe as powerful as I can.
You're just boosting the power of Zoe?
Yeah, I'm gonna make Zoe a fucking god.
Uber Zoe. She already freaking tears people up with that rifle or whatever you have going on.
Yep.
To see her massacring people. Half the time he's trying to chase people, he's just like, damn it, Zoe. She's just fucking murder happy.
Yeah.
Fucking accurate shot, though. It looked like every time when I was watching you, she was getting headshots.
Yeah,
that's pretty freaking crazy. Did you have anything else to talk about, Kat, or are you just completely unprepared today?
Honestly, I'm literally unprepared. I haven't done really anything interesting this week.
Cat. You watch anything new?
I did some dishes.
No, dishes isn't nerd crap.
I know.
We gotta build up material. That's alright, we'll just get right into it. So, we're gonna start talking about some siren lore right off the bat here before I get to my notes. So if you guys don't know, in the Borderlands universe, there are a total of 6 sirens in the universe at all times. Cap's character is not one of them. That's most. But anyway, so these 6 sirens have crazy, incredible abilities. They're basically worshipped as gods, and anytime one dies, their power moves on to another woman in the universe. Either selected some way, shape, or form by the user of the powers, or just randomly inherited to the universe, as far as we know. one case of somebody who may or may not be a siren is this girl Emily Swan from the pre-sequel. You only hear about her through echo logs and her mother talking, but she was very sick and dying, and the Watchers saved her for some reason with some kind of mysterious light. We don't know exactly what happened, but the speculation is that he turned her into a siren, or that she was already chosen to be a siren and he was there to see it happen. One of the two. Not really sure about that guy. He seems to know about the future a little bit. So throughout the series, we, start out with meeting Lilith, right, who's our, main protagonist type siren in the first game. And we later find out that there's another siren, Commandant Steel, but she dies before we get to see her powers, so we have no idea what her actual power was.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But speculations are that Vex's power in Borderlands 4 are going to be what her power was, but still no confirmation on that. The only thing we do know is from a echo log somebody found playing Borderlands 4, where Vex was basically just trying to figure out what to name herself, because it turns out Vex is not her real name. Which, there's a guy, a couple guys, Eruption Fang and Epic NNG, they're big Borderlands lore people. I believe it is Epic NNG who has a theory that Emily Swan is actually Vex. And at first we thought his theory was kind of shot down when they revealed that the Vault Hunter's name was going to be Vex. But that kind of just got completely saved for him whenever we found the little echo log that proved that that's not her real name. So his theory still has hope, and things like that. But throughout the series, like sirens become a big issue. For example, in Borderlands 2, we find out that Handsome Jack had been using Angel, his daughter, the whole time, who's a siren that can control technology. Our resident psychotic scientist for Borderlands 3 actually inherits her powers. I mean, she's in every Borderlands, but this is the game where she inherits the powers from Angel to control technology, right? We still aren't confirmed what all the abilities are and everything like that, but apparently sirens have been drawn to like places like Pandora and stuff with volts, and to each other specifically. So there's a theory that there may actually be a siren on the new planet Kairos, and that's actually why Lilith, when she teleports to the moon, crashes into the atmosphere of that planet, revealing it. But, that is still speculation and much to be seen. So what I'm going to do here for you guys is I'm going to play the echo logs that we have from this game. You go around in these maps and you find these little diamond things, which I'm actually going to take us somewhere to see one of those before I play them real quick. I've collected them all on this character, I believe, which is why I loaded him up specifically. Alright. So there's one here on this planet. Now, when you first start the game, these things are inaccessible, but, as with a lot of cool stuff in Borderlands, lore's hidden behind hidden echo logs or collectibles throughout the games that are an optional thing to pick up. So if you're a really lore-heavy person and you're a Borderlands fan, definitely make sure you're exploring heavily to look for things, but these things specifically are what you end up scanning to get these Nereid logs. But they do all end up in your inventory here. So if you come to log, you move over, type in logs, Iridian Writings here. Alright? There's a whole list of crap from Nereid here. But these are the main story ones.
You who hears me, eons after my time, I have set these words down, even as my mind fractures under the weight of what I have done. Find my words and remember their truths in my face, for I am the one who put the destroyer in its chains. I am the one who murdered the Iridians. I am Myriad.
Now, Kat, when I play these, can you hear them?
No.
Oh, damn, that sucks.
I am a siren. Like the destroyer, my kind has been called by many names. Oracle, angel, witch. Rarely are the names used kindly. I used to hate the ones who feared us, believing them ignorant. I think now, after what I have done, I better understand. I have seen Guardians change their own bodies, lengthening their blades or strengthening their armor as they require. I wonder how far they might change themselves now, in the absence of their makers. I have never known a time without my sisters. Even when one passes and a new siren receives her markings, she always finds her way to the sisterhood. It seemed the will of the universe that sirens be together, our lives entwined like an unseen braid. I may be the last to ever learn the Iridian language from one of their own. I have so many questions I should have asked them while I had the chance. Like why the Iridian term for homeworld also means first landing. What is the Destroyer? It is a mouth with endless appetite. It is hate that never cools. It is the long shadow cast by our universe against the moldering sun of time. It will never truly be contained. Merely made to wait until its chains slip, or are slipped for it. To inherit a siren's gift is also to inherit her curse. This is the choice of the siren presented with death. Pass on the gift and burden someone worthy, or release it and burden an unknown soul who has no idea that the entire universe is about to want them dead.
That's pretty hardcore there, I'm just saying. You know, like when you die as a siren, your choice is either, alright, I either have to know somebody that I think can handle having these powers, or I just have to release it into the universe and hope that whoever gets them can handle it. That is a legit crazy choice.
When the Iridians found me, my sisters tried to fight them off, but I stopped them. I saw what lay behind their open hands. I knew that anyone who would ask for my help was already lost. The Destroyer is ever hungry.
I wish they would have put
Perhaps
these
that
in a
is
better
obvious
order.
regarding a horror that gnaws on the edges of galaxies. But its appetite only grew as it ate the stars, never stopping even to swallow.
So if you need to, Cat, mute yourself and pull the stream up so you can hear these, because there is quite a few of them.
Okay.
The vaults operate as self-contained prisons. The Guardians have no need to serve as jailkeepers, only as sentinels at the walls. Why then bring them so close to consciousness? What purpose has a thinking spear?
Someone give me an order. I need an order!
What will happen, I wonder, when all the vaults are empty and all the terrors dead? Will the Guardians still stand their vigil? Will they find a greater purpose? And what is stopping them from finding it now?
I'm awake! I'm awake!
Things were bad
I do
enough
not
around
know
here.
how the Iridians became aware of the Destroyer. They never spoke of a time before it. But I suspect that they went searching for it, or something like it. And for their curiosity, they were rewarded with doom.
That's hardcore.
I suspect that some Guardians are keener than others. I have seen them acting of their own accord and even heard them speak. What spark do they have that the others lack? Was it freely given or stolen like the fire of the gods? Since the Guardians are not bound to individual bodies, it is nearly impossible to know how many the Iridians might have made. An uncountable army, hidden below the surfaces of 100 worlds. We are fortunate that they rarely stray far from their worlds.
So, if we take that intersection down the way,
The soul
we can
of
set
the
up
Guardian
roadblocks
is
and
little
take
more than
control
data
over this
to be
whole
transferred from one shell to another. I have never seen where they reside, if not in their physical bodies, and I suspect I never will. A soldier who cannot be killed in their sleep is a dangerous one.
I'm awake!
Pandora's upper mantle is made of solid iridium. It is this shell that now holds the Destroyer tightly in its bonds. The pressures and energies at work beneath the surface of the planet are titanic in scale. If the cycle is disrupted in any way, it is entirely possible that the Iridium will force its way to the surface. I fear such a thing might attract the wrong kind of attention.
Seems like this war's gone on forever.
Sirens have been hunted for as long as they have existed. Hunted out of fear, out of jealousy, out of misguided greed. The Sisterhood was our way of passing down the craft of staying hidden, and staying alive when hiding was no longer an option.
Remember when
As the Siren Sisterhood, we were the keepers of many answers, but our own nature remained elusive. We never knew our origins, nor our purpose. In this way, we are still undeniably mortal.
We may not have the numbers, but this
It was
is our
here
world,
that I
and we'll
killed them.
take it back no matter
A
what.
billion lives to power a machine. Should it comfort me that they will thrum in its heart forever? Perhaps oblivion would have been kinder. It would have been for me, at least.
Does anyone see my sandwich?
The Destroyer.
A bite out of it?
A practical name for an incomprehensible evil. Surely it has had millions of names more poetic or subtle. But none of the civilizations who coined them survived to pass them on, or anything else for that matter. Only the Destroyer itself knows for sure how long it has been tearing through the universe, eating its own name.
Things were bad enough around here before we had to
No
deal with
thread is
bad
ever
too.
truly cut.
Oh,
It can be tied to another, whether knotted by careful fingers or tangled by chance. Every siren must decide what will happen when the thread reaches its end.
I clean my boots.
I do not believe the Iridians intended the Guardians to be their heirs. Though they are technological marvels, they were held back from true emergence, kept in the dark to be of greater use. I wonder if they resent their creators for it. Even the sharpest knife is still a simple tool.
Someone give me an order.
The prison known as Pandora is the most incredible cage ever constructed. An unbreakable lock meant to hold an unceasing evil for all eternity. Even for the Iridians, whose reach could pluck stars from across the void, it was the work of centuries.
Crap, I farted. I hope no one
The creation of Pandora took the minds of generations to assemble. It was an impossible task, the scope unthinkable, the cost of failure too great. Still, they worked diligently, even as stars in the sky above them began to wink out.
Seems like this war's gone on forever. Wait,
The momentous task of caging the Destroyer was made all the more difficult by its intelligence. It understands the beings it consumes and the cultures it dissolves. To trick such a being required a great sacrifice, a lure. Millions of lives that entered Pandora ahead of its captive, tempting it further inward. I can only hope they were already dead when I closed the gate behind it.
crap, I farted.
All prisoners must be fed, even the Destroyer. The Iridians devised of a feeding slot that calls wayward souls to open it every 200 years. A cruel surprise for those that open this false vault. But in exchange, the small morsel will keep the Destroyer sedate over the eons. In any case, the victims will not be in pain for long.
I could really...
Not all shared the desperate optimism of the Iridians. There were some who hoped to appease the Destroyer and save their own souls by attacking the yet unfinished Pandora. They were met by another of the Iridians' creations, the Warrior. Though their coup was obliterated, the Warrior now sleeps in its own vault, ready to defend it from any who would further trespass against Pandora.
What were my orders? What am I doing here?
The Iridians knew of the flaw in their design. The cost of putting the Destroyer in its chains meant that there was no one left to throw away the key. All they could do was disguise it, and so it will forever hang in the sky. A small, cold, tidally locked moon, unremarkable even to the dwellers on the surface of the planet.
Someone give me an order.
Even death will not end the Destroyer. So long as dark and light, true and false, something and nothing continue to meet and annihilate one another, there will be a destroyer. I wonder if it, too, has a reflection that it might meet someday. And though I shudder to think of unceasing hunger, my blood runs cold at the thought of unstoppable creation.
So, if we take that intersection
When my
down the way,
atrocity was
we could set up
complete and I
roadblocks and
returned
maintain
home,
control over this
I
whole
found
area.
no family to rejoin. The others had fled. Our braid was unraveled. My sisters scattered to the stars. But they left me a parting gift. They told me where to die, that my thread might never be picked up again. When I have written my last, I will go back to the Iridian world, to the vault there. Oh, I hope it works. This would be a brighter universe without a leech.
Malawan troops stomping all over my bloody neighborhood.
The Iridians were neither gods nor demons. They were simply a people whose abilities outpaced their needs. So, in their curiosity, broke down walls that should have stayed up. They were, perhaps, fated to be erased at their own behest, like the forest that grows so that it may burn.
Someone give me an order.
We once lived side by side with the Iridians, though already the forgetting has begun. There was no fear of one another, only awe on one side, and a kind of sadness on the other. They never said if they knew their fate before it fell, but they also never said any of us had a choice.
I haven't been out of this.
With Pandora sealed and the Destroyer chained within, the greatest of the Iridian secrets is put to rest. It would be folly for me to think, though, that this is the last of them. There are countless other wonders or terrors they hid across the stars before my time. For every grave ward, traveler, or timekeeper, there are surely a dozen more slumbering in forgotten vaults.
Remember when anyone in the 6 galaxies wasn't insane? Me neither.
Things were bad enough around here before we had to deal with bandits.
The
too.
Iridians left their mark on countless worlds, but few of their creations are as uncanny as the Guardians. They are quasi-life, a half-truth, driven by instructions they only partially understand. They are hardly the ideal custodians one would choose to guard the leashed terrors of the universe. But in their resolute imperfection, they at least mirror their creators.
10 hut!
There was a single Guardian present when I killed the Iridians. It stood and watched from above us in that mechanical crypt. I feared and perhaps hoped that it would seek to avenge them and strike me down. But it made no motions to save its life-givers as they died. It merely watched.
Seems like this war's gone off.
You know now all that I know. This was an epitaph, not for myself, but for the world I knew. I have brought ruin to the sirens, murdered the Iridians, and imprisoned a primordial force of the universe. Perhaps I have earned your hatred, or your sympathy. But that is not why I write these words. I have told you the truth, no matter its hard edges. Before I can put my fractured mind to rest, I must pass one more warning. You must never find the seventh.
Things were bad enough around here before we had to deal with bandits too. Ugh.
Someone give me an order. I need an order! What were my orders? What am I doing here?
Interesting.
Watch your ass, soldier.
Introducing Lore. I think you're muted, by the way. I loved when the soldiers talked as soon as you finish that damn writing. Yeah, you are muted.
Wow, I've been muted this whole time.
Yep.
Okay, so as I said, he's already been talking again since then. Holy crap, that's embarrassing. But I was saying we were waiting for Cat to get finished because the stream trails back behind, and that was the only way he could listen to all that. So I was running around talking about how she was, mentioned that there is a reflection in the universe for everything. So if the Destroyer infinitely consumes things, then there's something out there even more terrifying, something out there that infinitely creates things. I'm curious what that mirror is going to be. Also, she mentioned that she did not know where the sirens came from, right? So we still have no idea where the sirens came from. I used to think that they were created by the Iridians originally. That was one of my theories back in Borderlands 2, but after playing this game and going through it and hearing all this extra lore, right?
Mm-hmm.
I now believe that there might be some kind of ancient being or another even more ancient civilization than the Iridians that not only created them but the sirens, because for some reason the vault monsters, the sirens, everything seemed to be going hand in hand together, right? And if what I heard is to be true, that people found echo logs from Myriad on Kairos in Borderlands 4 where she's trying to escape the planet, that means she was involved with whatever happened with setting up the timekeeper on that planet now. And one of the warnings she did give us, is that there's countless vault monsters out there that, for every, as she put it, grave ward, traveler, or timekeeper. So she was already hinting at the timekeeper right there. So we already knew about his existence pre, the Borderlands 4 trailers and reveal.
Yep.
So also, it kind of alludes to, because the other two things she mentioned were vault monsters. Does that mean he's also a vault monster? Just a more intelligent vault monster than the rest? Things to think about there. Right? She talked about the Iridian Guardians, right? And wondering what their purpose will be. She said once all the vaults have been cleared, so that means that they set it up wanting in the future vault hunters to exist and come clear these vault monsters, right? That's been preordained from the beginning. And I'm curious, if maybe the Guardian raid at Minos Prime is kind of a sign to what these Guardians will do afterward. It seems like they will go to try to find their own world to take up on or something, maybe? I don't know if they have like a secondary purpose. I do know that there was some preordained stuff that, according to the seer that we fight in this game, we kind of already messed up, namely Lilith for, her whole taking freaking Elpis and teleporting it across, the universe and crash landing into the Kairos' atmosphere. I do hope we get more, siren lore and everything like that. But there's another big thing that she mentioned, that there was another warning. Who is the seventh siren, and what can she do, and how powerful is she that Myriad, who literally had the powers to leech any being in the universe, was scared of her? Right? Like, that's gotta be something freaking hardcore. And I'm just really excited to see where Borderlands takes the lore going forward with all of that. That being said, we also talked about a machine in those writings, and I wanted to show everybody that machine. real quick before I get to my notes for Immense and Shadow, unless Cat has any things he wants to add to what we've been doing.
Now I'm
here.
ready to hear the notes.
Yeah, bro's just ready for those notes.
Yep.
Alright, we need to go back to Necrodefeo. Desolation's Edge, specifically.
I'm very curious about that 7th siren.
Yeah, oh no, me too. I'm wondering what her powers
Dude,
are.
imagine one of the DLC Vault Hunters is the 7th siren. That would be crazy, and nobody will really know.
That'd be the first Borderlands where we get 2 different sirens to play as.
That's true.
Yeah. So, also, theory that Vex's power that she has, which is kind of like along the lines of fucking what appears to be necromancy of some kind. Right?
Yeah.
Are actually the powers that we didn't get to see from Commandant Steel. So if you think about it, we can kind of attribute to what some powers are. For example, we have the phase lock ability and what all of its counterparts and things it can do. That was Maya's, but that's been transferred to Ava, so that's one power accounted for. Okay. We have phase walking, which is Lilith. Okay. We have phase, whatever the hell Amara's craft's called. I'm not exactly sure. She makes arms, bro. Like phase, some kind of freaking like goddess or something. Maybe like that Hindu goddess that had all the arms. I can't quite remember her name. I am so sorry, everybody, right now. The multi-arm goddess, but she could be her. Okay, I'm not exactly sure. Like I said, what it's called. Alright. We have phase leech ability accounted for, which was Tyrene's and stuff. Okay. We have phase shift, which was Angel's ability. Okay.
Yep.
And that's accounted for. And it does not appear that the leeching crap is passed on to Vex, because it appears to be something a little different, unless that is just a different version of Tyrene's powers that she has that would only leave Commandant Steel's power. Unless Vex is the 7th siren.
Ooh, who knows?
Yeah. There's lots of things to go on about that. And also, another question I've had is Troy the first freaking male siren?
Male siren?
Yeah, technically he was only a half siren. Technically him and Tyrene, if you think about it, were only half sirens, because their powers fed off each other. Meaning I feel like each of them, because they were twins, got half of Nereid's original power. And then, twisted and evolved it into what they became. And I think at the end, Tyrene actually reunified the power. And it got sent somewhere off in the universe. But anyway, this is the front entrance to a astounding machine, aka the Pyre of Stars here. Right? Which is where we were earlier. Way earlier, before I traveled us along our journey to go see what the Nereid writing things look like. But this whole entire machine was crafted to use this planet as a conduit, as well as Eden 6 and Promethea, in order to turn Pandora itself into a cage. And there's literally a multi-dimensional energy link. Each one of these is linked to the vault on the planet, right? That channels these energies through, and Tanis, tapping into this, was able to make this portal that leads all the way across the universe to Pandora.
Yeah.
Alright, so I believe with our little technology powers, alright, and this goes into my Tanis is a bad guy power. I think Tanis either is, and been secretly just kind of biding her time and holding things back, or is related to the 7th siren or some way. Maybe a fangirl of 7th siren, something like that. But if you think about it, throughout these series, we have been giving her everything she needs to defeat other sirens. Okay? First she was trying to find the vault, which kind of a dick move if you think about it. That first vault we found, which is actually, we found out in the near-ed logs, a fake vault. It was literally just a feeding slot for the destroyer. We were not meant to defeat it in the first game. It was supposed to eat us.
Mm-hmm.
For the destroyer itself. Right? But not only that,
Yeah.
and the Fight for Sanctuary DLC, we actually get Tannis the blueprints and the data for Jack's machine that he used to control sirens like Angel and Lilith, notably. Which means she technically has everything she needs to be able to replicate the collars that he made that can control sirens. Alright? So she is evil. We have been setting her up, because besides that, we hooked her up with this bad boy, which apparently allows her to make portals to other planets that are connected via volts.
Yep.
What's to stop her from connecting this to all the other volts? And being able to just teleport her ass across the galaxy. And nobody being able to stop her because we handed her all this power. Like, that is absolutely insane.
Yep,
Alright.
it is.
Now let me find somewhere safe to stand so we can get to these notes. Let's go stand by this freaky deaky statue, which I can't tell is an Iridian or Nereid. I don't know who this is supposed to be honest. I'm thinking it's an Iridian, unless, you know, she was a siren with 4 arms. So I'm gonna go ahead and stand here and go into photo mode. Because we go to wrap things up, and I will make more notes just in case, and Kat, if you could, try to be more prepared next week.
Sorry.
So we have stuff to talk about, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, keep this flow going, because I'm kind of just winging it here at this point to get to each one. But we are going to start with our notes, starting with episode 6 here. Rolling off of last week's notes. The episode 6 notes, you know, I haven't watched in a while, so I was excited when I started this. And by the way, if you guys are new here, what I do is I take comprehensive notes of the show as like my live reactions is going. So it actually takes me forever to get through a single episode because of this, though, because I type slow, so I end up having to pause to finish typing before I miss crap, and sometimes having to rewind a little bit to freaking hear crap that I missed while I was typing if I forget to pause. But the title of this episode is Pretenders. It starts off with some ominous music and straight up a murder, like some guy that seems possessed. You know, he just keeps saying, "We are Shadow Garden. We are Shadow Garden. We are Shadow Garden," over and over and over again. And he just walks through this alley and murders this guy. So I was like, what was up with the bloody piece of paper with a skull on it? And one of my first notes here is, does the intro seem longer than usual? Like, am I tripping? And the music is still fire. Yeah. But the friggin' intro does seem like it got longer starting that episode. But I'll have to go back and, I guess, rewatch an intro at some previous episode to see. And then immediately we're back to his stupid cover friends. Right? And then I specifically put, wait, did they just offer to buy him a prostitute because he got broke up with? I was like, oh, it's not that kind of establishment. Okay, but they really made it seem like that. But apparently it sells things that, you know, no one has ever seen. And they don't know about chocolate in this world? That's crazy. Also, it's apparently a super popular shop, and they believe that it's going to make girls swoon, LMAO. By the way, that's how I put it, because the way they put it was just dumb. Specifically, they said, we can use it to make girls blank. And the reason I said blank here is because they literally didn't say anything at all. They just said, we can use it to make girls, you know, and just doing their stupid laughs, you know. Fucking perverts. Like, these guys are top-level pro perverts, okay? Horrible people.
Professional pervs.
Right. And I was like, oh, hey, it's that girl from last episode, you know, with the pink hair and everything, that I think is going to fall in love with him because they made her stare at him all dreamily at the end of the episode. And apparently she's a student, and she seems to be also the world's most brilliant scientist, so that's crazy. And Iris and Alexia were asking her to decipher a weird flower, or maybe an eyeball with like a demon claw holding on it. I'm not sure. It's a crazy looking artifact. It's like got this little red jewel in the center, and these four things coming out that could either be fingers
Yeah.
or flower petals. Not 100% sure on which exactly they're, supposed to look like. But it could go either way, right? And they want
Yep.
her to decipher it specifically, because it's the one they found in the Cult of Diablo's hideout. And I'm very curious what she's going to be like. So far, she just seems like she's not very confident of herself, but her name is Sherry Barnett, and her father is
Yep.
encouraging her to go with them. He looks like a good dad, but also the Cult of Diablos has to be real. No way it isn't. Right? Just because of like everything that they've been setting up and finding, all these mysterious artifacts and stuff. I did make a note that, her dad seems like a good guy, but he may be a bad guy. I'm not 100%
Yep.
sure. Kind of seems suspicious, to be honest. Also, the cult of, Diablos fucking on the move. I think that they've been trying to personally, frame Shadow Garden, but we'll see. My notes immediately cut to, because the show jumps all over the place. Yo, there's an 80-minute to wait to get into Mitsugoshi. Like, F that. Looks like it's a super popular with rich people, but nothing so interesting has really happened so far. They did talk about the murder from the start, a little bit. But, other than that, it's just like, oh, are we going to wait 80 minutes and then risk getting back to our dorm rooms? Ooh, so interesting. I'd say F it, by the way. Ain't nothing worth waiting 80 minutes to get in. They can keep their shit. I ain't waiting in no giant line just wrapping around 2 floor or fucking blocks. Okay. And then I thought it was kind of odd that some, by the way, there's my random reactions. So what happens is some girl starts walking up and asks specifically for Sid. It's kind of odd that they targeted him specifically for a survey. And even though he said no, they insisted he come with them. And his 2 friends that were like, hey, we'll take the survey, they're like, no, we only need 1 person for the survey. Like, why would you force this? Like, that's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Why would you force somebody that doesn't want to take your survey to go take your survey, but leave people willing to behind? Never understood. Right? And bro just follows her. Doesn't even ask questions. It looks like it may be a serious trap. He barely asks any questions about how suspicious it is until literally he's like, hey, I thought we were going to go take a survey, after he walked up like 8 flights of stairs. Like, finally, he's like, hey, this doesn't look like we're going to take a survey. But keeps following her into what may be a fucking obvious trap, right? And then immediately went from that to, oh, is that a rooftop penthouse? Wait, is that Shadow Garden? Like, is this the Shadow Garden, like his Shadow Garden, not the fake Shadow Garden? Although his Shadow Garden might be the fake Shadow Garden, there might be another Shadow Garden that's the real Shadow Garden. Can't really fucking tell, because this show goes back and forth and all this crap. And I was like, also, why are they all elf girls? I was like, at least they all have pointy ears. They may not all be elf girls, but they do all have pointy ears. And then I said, yo, she recreated all the stories he told as a kid, and just made a giant store out of it. I was like, that's crazy. Also, Gamma got game, though. I see you, girl. The way she's talking him up. Right. Also, just met Gamma, guys. New character. Notes say LMAO, she's so clumsy but is extremely intelligent. Did she really have to land like that, though? Like, she landed and, like, her whole clothes almost fell off her. Like, she's just getting, like, half naked, laying there on the floor and crap after falling down some stairs. Like, damn. Talk about fan service in this anime. Right?
Yep.
And so I had a question. So he saved all 7 shadows, because they kind of showed, like, a flashback with her, remembering, like, getting fucking turned into some goop or some shit. So, like, were they all... Like, is that why they all seem to love him and all that? Because he saved them all? Like I said, I'm curious the more the story unfolds, but damn, there's a lot of fan service and harem vibes going on in this show. Like, crazy amounts of them. And then, good goddamn, that's a lot of money. You telling me not only did she recreate all the stories from his past that he told her, and she turned it into a multi-billion Zen company, which is Zen is their currency in that world. And I said, holy
Yep.
crap, I need a gamma in my life, LMAO. He is both flattered and offended that she did it without him. Plus, he has no idea what's going on. He's just rolling with it. She brings up the murder, and he's like, what the fuck, really? But, you know, on the surface, he's like, yes, I know all about it. And so I was like, so are they going to take down the real Shadow Garden with this fake one and become the real Shadow Garden? Or is the Cult of Diablos trying to frame Shadow Garden for murder? Many questions so far. Also, he is dense, like really dense. They're talking about the murders, and he's thinking about when Lexi attacked him, thinking that's the murder that they're talking about. And I was like, oh, a new named recruit. Her name is New, and apparently Alpha acknowledged her skill. I also said, bro, is he stealing his own money, or was that somebody else? Because you just see, it doesn't show the person. It just shows a little slime coming down the back of a pant leg, and then grabbing a coin and then, like, sucking it up the pant leg. But it didn't show whose pant leg it was. Because they obviously didn't really show the lower half of anybody else after that. That was, like, some kind of cover-up, so... I was freaking really wondering about that. I was like, wow, he really thinks it's Alexia still, and thinks she's going around murdering random people now. Like, what the fuck is going on? He's saying he's going to have to poop his pants, and they're getting all emotional because he's trying to get them to leave.
That part.
They're acting like he's
That's the
dying because he has
best.
to
I
poop
love that
outside.
part.
Like, what the fuck am I watching?
I love that scene.
And immediately
That's so
goes
funny.
from that to, oh, it's serious time again. So now he's
Dude,
hunting
that's fucking
Alexia.
dude. That part is so funny.
But he's not hunting her down because he thinks she's the murderer. No. He's hunting her down because she thinks she's murdering people, acting like Shadow Guardian. Or Garden. I don't know why I said Guardian there. Shadow Garden. Poor girl can't catch a break. Also, he's very dumb for a smart guy. And then, oh, hey, look, it cuts to Alexia finding the guy from the beginning who seems possessed. And I still think they're trying to frame Shadow Garden. She's fighting a lot better than she was earlier, so that's, you know, a plus side. Also, does bro think he's Batman, just lurking on the rooftop watching everything? Just sitting up there like, I am Shadow Man. And then I was like, hey, she won. Hopefully he figures out that, you know, it's not her. And I was like, oh shit, now she's being jumped. And damn, she fucked that guy up. But then, you know, his friends, of course, predictably jumped in and freaking took her down. And then also, just as predictable, here he comes, swooping in to save her from the possessed people. By the way, there's 3 now. Said, also, he is super offended, by the way. He says, a fool who claims the name is Shadow Garden, you will pay with your life. That line was dropped pretty cold, and then, like, straight up, bro is just an aura farmer for real. I put LMAO, laughing face. It's cool that he wants her to stay safe, but kind of effed that he kind of just let her pass out from blood loss. Like, didn't even try to heal her or anything, call in some back up, nothing. It's just like, yeah, she's bleeding out. We're just going to leave her here as I go track these other guys down. Tell her to stay out of it. Like, she even has a choice as she's passing out in a pool of her own blood. But, you know, it's whatever, I guess. And then, immediately after that, yo, New is scary, but, like, kind of hot scary.
Oh, New.
Also, whom is this gaunt knight, right? And then I was like, at least Shadow Garden, you know, got their name cleared by Alexia and Iris, and they now know about the Cult of Diablos. But Iris just declared them both the enemy of her kingdom, though. And damn, his fucking so-called friends told everyone that he crapped his pants on the way home. That's fucked up. Because everybody was talking about it in school the next day.
Wow. Yep.
I was like, bro got set up and lost his chocolate. Fucking Skell is so dumb. So I was talking about that when Skell went to go hit on that fucking one chick and then couldn't fucking talk. I was like, kept fumbling his words. And then fucking the chick's fiance shows up like, hey, why are you hitting on my patrol? I kick your ass. And she's like, yeah, well, I'm going to keep the chocolate anyway. Like, it's so fucked up.
Gosh. Yeah.
Like, oh hey, it's Sherry again. And Sid just gave her his chocolate because he was just trying to get rid of it. Apparently. I was like, oh god, is she gonna fall for him again? I feel like they keep hinting at it again and again. They also hinted at it in episode 5. Also, her father seems like he is sick, and he was telling her Sid is in love with her because of the chocolate. She's embarrassed now. It's kind of cute but funny. He's telling her that she must respond to him, and oh, he adopted her and knew her mother. And I said, also, I wonder if he is secretly evil. Once again, because, bro, be suspicious. I'm just saying. Like, and then, I don't want to spoil it, but later in my notes, I have more suspicions of him and who he might be. So we're gonna get into that, because it's episode 7 time, a fencing tournament of intrigue and bloodshed. Probably gonna be awesome based off the name. I'm about it.
Yep.
This is, oh, look at Sherry at the start. She hasn't actually eaten the chocolate because of what her dad said. And, oh, nope, she just ate it. And, boy, it got all fan servicey again. I've literally never seen anyone in my entire life eat chocolate and then start moaning. Like, what the fuck? Also, I feel New is kind of suspicious. But I like that her disguise, she kind of looks like a librarian. And it turns out that those guys were brainwashed, so it was definitely a frame job. And the F for Scale and the other kid, I can't remember his name, damn. Anyway, he punched them both in the stomach because they want him to fence in the fencing tournament in order to get them girlfriends. Like, what the fuck logic is that? Oh, serious time again, and that's fucked up. The Cult of Diablos has been kidnapping and brainwashing strong magic kids to make an army for years, from what New is telling him, and the New thinks that he should enter because they are using the name Shadow Garden to lure out, the real Shadow Garden out of hiding. Basically, it's a strat to lure and bait them. What is a named first child? Wait, what? Okay, so this guy's name is Rex, the Game of Betrayal. Interesting name. And according to New, he is a first child who remained his sense of self and seems strong. Is also a sign that there are probably more people like him, but apparently he's going to be in the tournament, so she wants him to enter to fight him. Oh, also she believes Sid is some super wise master. LMAO, what was with that daydream or vision or whatever the hell she had? Did she get turned into like a slime like Alpha did? Like, what the fuck just happened? In that little clip, when it cuts back to normal, so many questions. And also, if she got turned into a slime like that, who saved her? Was it Alpha? I do like that she's a truth seeker, but I am still suspicious of her. Oh, the tournament started, and Claire Cogano is cleaning up. Sid's new world sister. She's kind of cold, but badass. I said, yo, are they taking bets at school fights? Oh, man, wait, where's Sid? Oh, he's fighting another princess named Rose. And is she going to fall in love with him as well? What the hell? It keeps looking like they're setting up all these girls to fall in love with him. I was like, oh, he's hyping up his training now. Wait, is he hyping up his legit training or his background character training? And I was like, oh, yep, he ate a blood pack and went flying. It was background character training. I was like, bro, straight up named his losing technique. LMAO laughing emoji. I can't with this guy. He called it the background character secret technique. Spinning drill fall blooding tornado, which would actually be a badass attack name. Bro really just wants to be a upfront side character and a lead background character from what the Shadow's ultimate disguise is supposed to be, apparently. Bro showing off more techniques, and I was like, what the fuck? How many background character techniques? Did he just say at 47, bro? Just getting his ass kicked on purpose? That's, some dedication, right? Like, the true ultimate side character fucking cliches is what he's trying to be. Also, who the fuck knocked him out of the way? Oh, it was the ref. LMAO, they forced him into a stretcher, and his friends are dumb with his fake funeral they're holding in the background. And oh hey, Sherry is still in love with him for sure, based off what she's saying while she's talking to him, looking at him all dreamy. She thought that it was incredible that even though he was getting his ass beat, he still kept getting back up. Thinks he's amazing for it. Also, he thinks she's very strange, which is notable. I was like, oh my god, she literally baked him some cookies because of the chocolate, but he thinks it was because of his stupid background character moves. And then she asked if they could be friends. He says yes. She celebrated like an Olympic champion, like she just won a gold medal. What the fuck? Oh, also her adopted father is a scientist assistant and a principal, assistant principal, and a master swordsman, a master of martial and scholastic arts. Hell yeah, sounds badass, but I still think he's up to no good. And I said, oh no, is he gonna break her heart just to not be associated with her father? He's gonna do this shit, isn't he? God damn it, Sid. Why you always gotta be like this? And I was like, oh, maybe not. But he is definitely going to fake an injury to avoid her, for a long period of time from what he's saying. So shame on him. Also, she's definitely still thinking Sid looks like, definitely still thinking of Sid, and looks like she is joining the enemy baddies probably. Why does she have to moan every time she eats chocolate? Question mark. Also, she's acting all crazy in front of Alexia now, and Alexia is judging her because of how much sugar she put in her coffee. LMAO, she's like, you really drink it like that? And I was like, oh my gosh, she literally went to Alexia to find out if Alexia and Sid were actually still together. And then Alexia fakes, being okay with it and saying, no, we broke up and we were never really dating. And then immediately she's like, oh, I'm so relieved. And you can see freaking Alexia shaking the cup because look at it like this. It's girl drama time. Getting those damn harem vibes again. Also, LMAO, Alexia is definitely so jealous, faking being okay with Sherry and Sid, and being happy for Sherry. Meanwhile, she's shaking her cup so violently that it starts to crack. And, oh, apparently it's student election time. Is he going to accidentally win? LMAO. Let's see how it plays out. No, it's that creepy dungeon knight guy again in the dark. I wonder if he's Sherry's adopted dad. Oh, what is that eyeball thing that he has? It makes some kind of barrier. And what the fuck? Who did Alexia just find murdered? She's just walking around and just find somebody murdered in a coat. It's like, I want bro's slime weapons and armor, and oh shit, it's fake Shadow Garden again. Are they taking over the school? It seems that the barrier's canceling magic, but not demon magic or some shit. Oh shit, did Sid just die again? What the fuck? Well, next episode time. So that came to the reaction of literally at the end of the episode, they're breaking into the school. That Rose chick tries to fight the guy, but her magic doesn't work. But his magic works. He cuts through her sword. He's about to slash her again. Sid pushes out her way and gets slashed through the fucking chest and drops to the floor.
Yep.
I was like, how many times is bro gonna fucking die in this show first?
Yeah.
That was my initial reaction. And then, now we're here to episode 8. It says, okay, rolling on from that crazy ending. The start of episode 8 entitled, The Dark Knight Academy is Under Attack. Pretty straightforward title here. It starts back exactly where the last episode ending, showing the barrier and the fake Shadow Guard showed up, and now, who we now know are brainwashed by the Cult of Diablos, and they're bursting in and attacking students, but this time we're seeing it all from Sid's perspective. I was like, wait, is he fanboying over what is happening right now? Like, he literally described it as the glorious first event that every boy dreams of, that graces the first page of our adolescent fantasies. Like, what the fuck? Your dream is to fucking have your school attacked by terrorists? What the fuck kind of dreams does he think normal people have? He, like, literally thinks everybody fucking has this fucking dream as a kid. It's like, yeah, bro, I'm gonna be a badass because my school's gonna get invaded by terrorists and I'm gonna kick their ass. Fucking Die Hard style. Like, not everybody thinks of that crap. Also, everyone is panicking, and he is really just ecstatic and thinking about all the possibilities that could happen now. Bro's definitely a psychopath. And then I said, oh, so did he fake his death and kill himself off as a background character just now? LMAO. Apparently it's all according to plan, I guess. Bro just literally said he couldn't have asked for a more perfect opportunity. I guess that's to cover up his identity as the Shadow. He looked so happy as he got slashed. And perfect timing after what happened with Sherry, LMAO. The Rose girl he fought in the tournament thinks that he was in love with her now, and that he gave his life for hers. The fake Shadow Garden seems to be abducting the students of the academy and gathering them all in one spot. Also, what the fuck, they just left his body? And he celebrated the moment they left? Hell yeah. Well, what the fuck kind of bring himself to life BS just happened? So he used a technique to fake his death and restart his heart, but it's very specific to like 10 minutes. So like, what the fuck? What if they took longer? Would he have just been stuck and died there? Like, that's definitely some plot armor that just happened. So basically, what happened is he has a technique in place. So after he gets slashed, he can redirect all of the blood to his brain and make his heart stop pumping while still circulating his blood, using magic to circulate it without having to pump his heart. So people think he's dead because he no longer has a pulse, which is pretty cool. But he also said it's very risky, so that was definitely some serious plot armor. So, like, if they would have taken any longer, his ass would have been dead. Also, of course,
Yep.
Sherry is their actual target and the artifact that she was researching. Also, I think that Night Guy is her father, and that's how, they know where it is. Oh, the guy New mentioned is here, and can't remember if it's Shadow Garden or the Shadow Guardians, LMAO. Rex the Betrayal, more like Rex the Dumbass. And he is here to steal the artifact and kidnap Sherry, it seems. Oh, somebody managed to show up to save her. Maybe a teacher or something. Oh, nope, this guy has a name. He's Glyn the Lion's Mane and is some kind of commander in the kingdom. Nice, I guess. Talking about how he doesn't need magic because he can just overpower Bro with raw skill. And Bro's like, whoa, you really think you can overpower me? Right? Said, is freaking Sherry gonna run into Sid on the rooftop? Because it cuts to him freaking just monologuing on the rooftop. He's literally fanboying over this whole thing, but is also very critical about what they're wearing. Really? Like, you're gonna focus on what everybody's wearing while they're invading your school? The LMAO bro has some issues, but he made a slime mini bow sniper rifle thing that was handheld and was just picking off people who were following Sherry. And he is waiting for nightfall to make a big entrance and giving a narration of everything that he's doing. Wow. Apparently, crossing stuff off his bucket list. Sherry is so lucky that Sid the serial killer is protecting her. And he's just so happy about all of this. Also, she figured out why they want the artifact. It goes with the eyeball that made the barrier. And poor Sherry. But if I'm right, though, we're going to find out soon. Hopefully she isn't heading toward her dad's office just to get captured and him reveal that he's evil. Also, she's super clumsy, but Sid saved her and is now scolding her on how to be more sneaky. He started a monologue and gets cut off by her finding a book with information on the Eye of Avarice, which is what the eyeball thingy that made the barrier is. So it can block magic, as we already know. Also, did he F up his fake death to save her? Question mark. He didn't save her as a shadow, he saved her as Sid. But didn't he just fake his death? So I'm so confused on
Yeah.
Alright. And okay, so besides blocking magic, it more disrupts it than blocks it. And it absorbs the magic and then releases it as a blast. So what they're planning to do is absorb as much magic from the students as possible and then destroy the school and all the students in a single blast. Also, more evidence that her father is bad, as they gave him the Eye of Avarice and he supposedly sent it to the government for safekeeping. But I personally bet that he sent a fake and kept the real one. Or that he paid somebody to steal it later and replace it with a fake one. Either way, bro has like this whole book of information over this eye that was just used. Also, the artifact that she has the ability to store the energy and stop that thing from exploding. So it's basically just a battery that she's holding. Alright. Also, bro just cares if he can be the shadow or not. He doesn't even give a fuck about anything he's saying. He's just sitting there thinking about, like, she's the main character, but I think if she does this, this, and this, I can really show off as a shadow. Like, really, bro? That's what you're thinking about right now? It's like, is everything just a game for him? Does he not even treat this like it's a real world? Does he feel like he got reincarnated in a video game or some shit?
I know, right?
But he says, as far as he knows, she's the main character of the story. And oh, hey, look, that night guy threatened to kill Rex because he didn't get the artifact or Alexia and mixed up all of his plans. And it seems like he's a long-term plan kind of guy and wants to reinstate something called the Knights of the Round. Who exactly are they? And Sid is now making Rex look like a child playing an adult's game when it's actually the other way around, where Sid's the child playing an adult's game. Also, he's still being OP as fuck.
Yep.
And Sid definitely has a freaking serial killer mentality. He totally psyched Rex out and put him in a room full of all his dead subordinates sitting in desks. Like, why the fuck is he hanging from the ceiling like he's a vampire? Also, is New the one who stole the money earlier? Because now I just seen that she also has a slime weapon, but she's trying to keep it hidden from Sid for some reason. Because she kind of like cupped it in the palm of her hand when he showed up. Also, she found who she was saying is her betrothed on the verge of death. Was she gonna kill him? Did she lie to Sid saying that she was betrothed? Because, you know, poor Gamma's also tripping, always tripping. She started talking about Gamma and how she's not really suited for this type of mission, but she's leading it. And then it literally shows her trip in the hallway while she's talking about it, like, poor girl. Also, the magic disruption effect is affecting everyone, apparently, except for the Seven Shadows, who are too apparently powerful to be affected by it. Bro figured out a way to use his
Yep.
magic without it being disrupted by making it into tiny little threads, because apparently they're too small for it to be disrupted. And Iris is basically arguing with the police of the kingdom on who is going to arrest the terrorists, because apparently it needs to be her and not them. Sorry about the yawn. According to her. Also, Sid is giving Sherry supplies to reconfigure an artifact, and freaking New was like, wait, you know how to do that? And he was basically just like, no, but, she does. Which is why I'm getting all this crap to her. They're going to fine-tune it so he can launch his attack at night, apparently. Also, Sid saved that guy. She was going to kill him for sure, but Sid, told him that freaking it's not worth it. So it makes me wonder who that guy really was to her and everything like that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Also, it looks like he is hatching a plan to take back the school while also looking like a badass, because apparently that's all he cares about is looks and aesthetics, as he's trying to become this shadow guy. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, so Sherry asked for her dad in her head, but I feel, and for her father's help, because she doesn't think she could do this without him. Also, he wasn't in his office, which is also fueling my he's a bad guy theory. And I can't wait for episode 9.
Oh yeah.
So that's where we are so far. And as usual, I will try to get more than 3 episodes, but I will at least get 3 episodes every week, everyone. Until we make it through the show with my crazy comprehensive notes here.
Yep.
You have anything you wanted to add or talk about? Anything about what I just said? Your thoughts on my
Gorgeous
reactions?
notes.
Hmm?
I liked them.
You liked them?
Yeah.
W notes, hell yeah, I'm about that.
W notes. Yep.
All right, guys. Well, really didn't have too much more to talk about this week. Like, I'm sure I could have found more things to talk about, but I've made myself a little too busy with the streams due to all the Xenoverse thing going on right now and everything like that. I will start working harder on making sure that we get the notes, so next Wednesday should be a lot better podcast. And I didn't really have any side questions prepared. I did have other things I wanted to ask about, but I didn't make any notes about them, and I completely forgot what they were, to be real. I got pretty 420'd earlier because I didn't think we were going to have a podcast today because I hadn't heard from Cat in a long time.
Oh yeah.
Come to find out, bro stayed up way too late and passed the cow. Yay, cat lore.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, everybody, I think we had a great week this week. Be sure to check out ChillenCat YT on YouTube. Bro does streams with me. He also does his own things, and I don't know if he does any edits or anything like that, but he does stream other games that I don't stream, like Fortnite and Minecraft and stuff like that. Be sure to check him out. We do this podcast
Sure.
every Wednesday. It's not exactly going to be at the same time, but we do try to keep it around the same time. We were quite a bit late today because we had to do some extra prep because I did start streaming early before he woke up. Anyway, thank you all for watching. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I hope to see you all next week.